Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got 4 great decks for you, 2 with the new cards, 2 without, including the number 1 deck in last season. Yes, the season is over, and we know what the number 1 deck is. It dominated as our friend Sizer came in first on the Infinite leaderboard in the last season. We're going to begin, though, with McDonald's Zoo. This is a great list. This is the single best list that played both Hawkeye and Marvel Boy that I tried. I really enjoyed playing this. I stopped playing it after a while because I can only play Zoo for so long, but this felt very good. You can find JJ McDonald streaming on Twitch at just that name. Just copy it down. Go check him out. Super great person. He's also on the podcast this past Saturday if you want to hear his thoughts. It's a really great podcast where we challenge each other's thoughts a lot. It was very good. Nebula and Hydra Bob are great here, but neither one is required. They can be Nico, Nightcrawler, or Iceman. Kate Bishop can be Kyra or Armor. Marvel Boy and Mockingbird are, however, needed for the top levels of this deck, and Gilgamesh can be either Cull Obsidian or Alioth. Actually, Alioth is very strong here. But if you have those cards, I know that's 2 Series 5 cards for Gilgamesh. Sorry, hopefully you bought the Season Pass. But if you have these cards, this is one of the most powerful decks in the game. For whatever reason, people are not playing Killmonger all over the place yet. You will be, if you're climbing to Infinite, free to use this deck. Alright, this is the single best Zoo deck I tried. Turn 1, you Nebula Blind, and that's better than Squirrel Girl, unless you have Marvel Boy already. Even then, I'd probably Nebula Blind, and then Squirrel on 2 if Marvel Boy. Otherwise, you play Dazzler or Kate Bishop. Turn 3, Marvel Boy, if you have any ones out. If not, you play Shauna. Turn 4, you play Kazar or Marvel Boy and a 1. And now you're starting to look for where Mockingbird fits. Sometimes Mockingbird can fit and change your plans on 4, 5, or 6. Turn 5 is Blue Marvel or Kazar and a 1. Turn 6 is Gilgamesh and a 1 or Shauna/Mockingbird and stuff. This is very straightforward and simple to play. If you are looking for a deck that can just win straightforwardly, this is the deck for you. So we're going to take a quick chat. We're going to have a quick chat right after this deck. But right after this, we're going to get to the number 1 deck from the number 1 player of this past season. One last look at this list. Again, very powerful, very effective, and relatively cheap. You really only need the new card and the and Mockingbird, and then you can sort of make do as you go. Again, no one's countering Zoo. Within a day or 2, people will be countering Zoo. Take advantage of this now. Hey, I'd like to ask you to hit that sub button. We're trying to hit 15,000 subs. It's like our big goal for the year, and if you sub, it would really help us out. We're doing our best. If you enjoy the content, please hit that sub button. We bring you at least 3 brand new decks every single weekday, usually 4 decks a day, and then a bunch more on Sundays. We do 7 days a week of videos. We have podcasts every Saturday that go hours with Marvel Snap's biggest names. We had Interrobang and JD on this week. The week before, we had Binks and Ika. We just do a lot of really consistent content. We cover everything in the game. If you find value in that, please hit that sub button. We also do the biggest giveaways in all of Marvel Snap. Straight up, the biggest giveaways in Marvel Snap. We give away 5 season passes before the season. Those winners are announced on Monday's video, and then we're giving away 5 throughout this week. It'll be announced this coming Sunday. If you're interested in a free Kate Bishop, all you have to do is subscribe and then like, and then at some point in this video, I'm going to ask you a specific question. You answer that question in a comment on this video, and 1 comment on this video will win a season pass. 1 comment on yesterday's video will win a season pass. Same thing as tomorrow. Hopefully you get the idea. In addition, we have 13 alliances now. The announcement already happened. We have a competitive alliance that includes players like .geo, Sizer, No Best, Bounce Guy, just a ton of absolute top players, monsters of Marvel Snap. I think we have 3 of the current top 10 on the Infinite leaderboard in our competitive alliance, but we also have 13 freaking alliances. If you'd like to join, do the stuff on the screen. We're more than happy to have you completely free to join. All you have to do is join our Discord. Cool? All right. This is the number 1 deck. Sizer was number 3 and then switched to this list. Well, technically he was number 3, and then he switched to the Sandman list we covered on Sunday, got to number 1, fell back to number 2, and then used this for the entire rest of the climb. He ended up a couple hundred points above number 2, who is Havoc OP, Derek, and this is Sizer's second first place finish on the Infinite leaderboard after last December. He tied with Zunes. It's very complicated. We have a video where we go over every number 1 from every season. If you're interested, please check that out. But this Sizer deck is absolutely top-notch. It's absolutely stellar, insanely powerful stuff here. This is just a simple Thena shell combined with a simple Darkhawk shell and Cosmo. So a deck that's fairly similar to this one last season, except it didn't use the Thena shell. It used the Darkhawk shell and then combined it with Surfer. Zunes hit number 1 with that. Meanwhile, this season, Sizer took that Thena shell and combined with the Darkhawk shell. Over a year and a half since Darkhawk came out, Darkhawk is still dominating the metagame, still extremely strong. This deck just straight up handles arishem bullshit. It's got both the Cassandra Nova and the Darkhawk, but it's got a lot of play into fundamentally everything. This is a deck that's really hard to overstate how powerful it is. You've got you're messing up draws with rocks, right? The Thena gets huge. That can get doubled with Iron Man. Juggernaut can mess up anything that's not trying to fill the lane, as can Cosmo. Nocturne can stop any magic bullshit you're dealing with. There's just something to like and something to do to answer basically everything with this list. If you'd like to check out Sizer Twitch is on stream all the time. He's at twitch.tv/Sizer2654. Thena, Kitty, Darkhawk, and Cassandra are all needed. Nocturne can be Copycat, Mobius, or Spider-Man, and Jeff can be Kate Bishop, White Widow, or Medusa. All good. Kate Bishop's actually really, really solid here. I just want to go back for 1 second if you decide to add her, largely because Thena and Kate are as good as we thought. A lot of what you want to do with Thena right now is you need 1-drops to be able to play along with your 1 behind curve in order to trigger her. That +3 power is often better than going 1 up the curve, right? So that's really, really great, but it's hard to find 1-drops. If you don't see Kitty, it's hard to have enough 1-drops. You only get 1 Korg, right? Well, the extra 2 1-drops that Kate Bishop adds are really, really great for decks like this. All right, so Sizer is number 1. He's probably going to go into the next season as number 1. He was number 2 last season and the season before, and number 1 this season. So turn 1, Korg over Kitty. Turn 2, Angela over Thena. Turn 3, Thena, plus a 1, or Cassandra, or Rockslide. It depends. You'd rather Rockslide and Korg before Cassandra. If you can end up Thening, right? And then you go Rockslide, and then you go Korg and Cassandra, you're in pretty good shape. Cassandra after Rocks, and whatever 3+1 is your goal in turn 4. Turn 5, Darkhawk or Iron Man. Turn 6, you can play either Darkhawk or Iron Man, or you can use Juggernaut or Juggernaut Cosmo on another 3, or just Juggernaut and Cosmo. And then you probably win, because this is just a lot of power. This is a technically difficult deck. It takes a lot of thought to play this. You're going to have to know what your opponents are playing and know how to counter them. Part of the reason Size is so good at that is when you're at the top of the Infinite leaderboard, you play a lot of the same decks over, a lot of the same people at the very least over. So unless they're changing decks a ton, you get a good feel for what you need to do to beat them. And Sizer's brilliant at that. Once he knows what he needs to do to beat you, he does so and wins. Next up, we're going to talk about custom cards. We do a custom card challenge every 2 weeks, and we have Dragon Ball custom cards. After that, we've got a top 10 deck last season that is currently number 3 on the Infinite leaderboard, another member of our alliance. Before we do that, though, while we're talking about alliances, our question of the day is, how interested are you in watching an alliance tournament? If we can get that on Twitch, if we can get that streamed, if we can get that recorded to show up on the YouTube, are you interested in these top alliances clashing, facing off, and as a form of content, or is it just good for? Or would you rather we just do it and then I can report out on a video and not overstress it? You let me know what you think in the comments of this video. That's how you enter to win the season pass. All right. Last look at this. This is officially the number 1 deck of the Deadpool versus Wolverine maximum effort season. Congrats to Sizer again, my friend. I'm so happy and proud of you for dominating. Genuinely, number 1, Sizer's making his claim. He won Snap Masters number 2. He's now officially got a real claim as the best Marvel Snap player ever. It's basically him.geo Lambie. think anyone else really has an amazing claim as the single best ever. No one else has the tournament wins, along with the number ones on the Infinite leaderboard that I can think of off the top of my head. Tanjo, I know, has the top stuff, but doesn't do tournaments. Same thing for Zuns. So I think that it's those three with the real, like, big, like, statistical, like, evidence-based claims as the best Marvel Snap player in the world. So props to Sizer. Next up, Custom Card Challenge. This is Dragon Ball. So our first winner is Voltron. Voltron created Cell. Cell is a 4/2. I love Cell. I think Cell is my favorite here. While this is in hand, discard a card from your hand at the end of each turn to double this card's power. So discard decks love this, but Apocalypse, Swarm, Wolverine, Proxima, Helicarrier, and soon Scorn would absolutely love this. Basically, like, it could discard your one of your important cards, right? Like, it could discard Mobius, but I think it's worth it. I think that this would get big and really powerful so fast that it's absolutely super cool and, like, definitely worth giving a try, playing and messing with. I think this also really fits Cell well, where Cell sort of absorbs his allies in the anime or manga or whatever, and gets more powerful for it. So I think that's so cool. Very great design, super thematic. We also have Captain Ginyu, who's way the frick too good from Poison Wit, but everyone loves the Ginyu Force. I can't believe no one made a Vegeta, but everyone loves the Ginyu Force. So this is an on reveal, swap the card's text with a random enemy card here. So this is just generally good. This would go in everything. So it needs to, like, change its cost, right? This needs to be like a 5/4 or 5/2 in order to be played. This is amazing against one-off lane winners, but cards like Iron Man, Darkhawk are the best here, so he's kind of ongoing hate. But he's also going to take an on reveal. The opponent will have already got that on reveal, but you can easily steal something powerful with him, like a White Tiger or a Doom or a Sage or whatever, and that would be incredibly strong too. He's also going to take on reveals and passives. You can end up getting rid of your opponent's name of the card, Marvel Boy, with this card. That, like, this card again has to have a stat change, but because the opponent's card gets this on reveal, if they can Odin it, if they can Grandmaster it, whatever, they can switch back or grab another one of your cards. I think it's really cool. Again, the power and cost are wrong, but I love this card. Cool. I think it's super cool for Captain Ginyu, whose power in the anime is that he can switch bodies with anyone that's more powerful than him. I think it's really, really great. All right, next up, we have a keyword of choice, and the theme is D&D classes. That's right, Dungeons & Dragons classes. I'm still very early because I don't have a lot of free time in Baldur's Gate 3, but I am loving that game. So as a benefit of that, as a result of that, we're going to do D&D classes. If you're interested in participating, join Drewberry's Discord, is linked in this video. And if you want to make your own custom cards, do snaptracker.me/custom. This is actually going to be due next Monday because 2 weeks away is, a big vacation thing. So this will be next Monday that this is due. All good? All good. Next up, we have the Mr. Negative list that finished in the top 10. This is Dai Cavallo's list. This has a low win rate and cube rate if you check the stat sites. However, because it's a top 10 deck, we know that this deck can be effective if you play it wisely and well. And playing it wisely and well does not mean only Mr. Negative. You are perfectly capable of winning through various Iron Man and Mystique Ravonna bullshit, especially when combined with Jane, or you can end up Iron Manning on 4 and Zoling that Iron Man on 5 and then dropping cards like Sage and you're rowing Thena. There's just a ton to do here. So much power to this list. I urge you to check it out. Give it a try. Dai Cavallo is Snap Legends Alliance. It's Snap Legends are a competitive alliance. Again, you know what to do if you want to win that season pass. Darkhawk can be Cassandra Nova or maybe Black Panther. The other cards here are just needed. You just have to have them. I don't think Darkhawk is actually very good here, but Black Panther and Black Panther would be, and so would Cassandra. But Darkhawk is here because Arishem is all over the place. And like when Dai Cavallo started crying with this, Darkhawk was in the list and he just kept winning, so he never took it out. Basically the gist of this. Note that Darkhawk has no extra support in this deck. Alright, so this is top 20 last season and currently ranked number 3. Turn 1, you want to play Kitty. Turn 2, Ravonna or Psylocke. Ideally, you'll play Thena if you need to, but Ravonna or Psylocke if you can. And then turn 3, if you can at all, you play Mr. Negative. If not, you go Thena +1 or Hope. Hope is really good here. We're just going to quickly look through. If you go Hope on 3, you can spend turn 4 playing 2/2s, and then you can end up with enough energy for sorry, if one of them is Psylocke or Ravonna, you can end up with enough energy for a Darkhawk Mystique right away, which is just silly power. You can end up with your Darkhawk early, stuff like that. All right. Turn 4, negative Iron Man, Hope +1 or 2 cards on Hope. Turn 5, you really would like to drop Jane if you have Mr. Negative. If not, you're happy going Iron Man or Darkhawk. And then turn 6, Iron Man and Mystique or Arnim Zola. Cool. That's how you play this list. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit more about something else, and then we're going to come back with a TLSG deck. You know TLSG is one of the biggest Marvel Snap YouTubers. He has a 94 frickin' win rate early in the season. Yes, there are bots involved, but 94%, 16-1 is insane, so we've got to take a look at that list before we head out today. One last look at this list, though. This is currently the number 3 ranked deck in Marvel Snap. It's always worth noting, my BBAK lesson was that if you are good with a deck, if you are able to be disciplined with your snap and retreat and find the lines, the deck doesn't have to be good for everyone. It can be really good for you. It's the same thing as that Werewolf Darkhawk deck that .geo made that I had a 70% win rate over 3 seasons with, that had like a 45% win rate overall. You get the deck, you get the deck. So if you like Mr. Negative, if you're willing to play this, you should give it a try. I bet you will have some fun. All right, hey, if you would like to see gameplay from these decks, please check out the stream team. Today is Wednesday, so the great GamingwithFlashX will be streaming tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern. He's going to be streaming, you guessed it, all of these decks. So make sure you check that out. I think you'll really have a great time with Flash. I love Flash, such a great person. Yesterday, Prashaun streamed a bunch of these decks. He should have a YouTube video out about them. And tomorrow will be the great Parry Manilow at 6 p.m. Eastern streaming these decks. The day after the decks are streamed on Twitch, the next morning, there's a YouTube video of the gameplay. So make sure you check that out. Check out the stream team. Our last list is TLSG's 16-1 junk. We all thought this list was basically dead when Dr. Octopus was changed. TLSG said, not so fast. And this deck is just really, really powerful. Clog is still extremely strong, especially given that Zoo is everywhere. If you can get your Clog going onto Zoo, you'll have a really, really high success rate. All right, so you can find TLSG. I know he has a YouTube, and he's huge on YouTube, but he's trying to grow on Twitch right now, so please go check out TLSG's Twitch at twitch.tv/TLSGsnap. Kate Bishop here can be Spider-Ham, Nebula, Iceman, and Baramordo, and I just want to add Ravonna. I think actually Ravonna would be pretty decent here. I know it's only really working on the Goblins, but hey, that's pretty good. Alioth is needed, and Cannonball can be Shang-Chi. Yeah. So, there's so many different cool decks to try with Hawkeye, Kate. The junk thing is really cool. I know Den is working on junk bounce. I bet you that ends up relatively similar to this, except with like Werewolf. So turn 1, you pass. Turn 2, Hawkeye over Widow. Turn 3, Widow and Titania. Turn 4, Goblin and Titania or Viper and Hood. Or you can just play Doc Ock. Turn 5 is Hobgoblin or Doc and Titania or whatever. And then turn 6 is either Cannonball or Alioth. Real simple list, right? Nothing super complicated here. This list is just saying, I want to junk your opponent up. You should know how good you're going to be with this list by how often you know where your opponent is going to play their cards. If you are playing Marvel Snap and you look at the opponent's board and you go, oh, they're going to play that there, then this is the perfect deck for you. If you look at your opponent's board and you go, I don't know what they're going to do all the time, you probably don't want to play this deck. But your ability to clog the opponent up and guarantee yourself wins is just through the roof. You're not going to have a huge cube rate, but you should win an awful lot of games as people leave in frustration. Also, note the Titania variant, that's the one from Conquest this season, and it's gorgeous. All right, questions of the day, then we're out of here. So, Koire asks if bots are okay since they lead to people having wildly different experiences. This was specific to Deadpool's Diner, but it matters now as we're climbing ladder, and there's not really a choice given MMR. You don't want, bluntly, players that struggle to reach infinite to play top MMR players. They're going to get destroyed and further frustrated. You don't want want people waiting massive amounts of time for games. You don't want people sitting around. I think the bots are important in terms of making it so that things make sense. I know it's uneven, but I don't think there's really a better choice given Marvel Snap's like quickness of games and like how fast they want you to get in and out. Lord Cruel Gaming wants to know the difference between Clog and Junk, and to me the difference is Clog tries to fill everything your opponent's doing, and Junk just tries to give them some negative cards. They're used fairly interchangeably. I have them as slightly different categories in my head. A Nihilus is a Junk card. It's trying to junk up your opponent, while Debris is a Clog card. There is, of course, some overlap. Goblins are often both, right? But most cards are just one or the other. Unibot asks if Luke Cage is too strong, protecting the entire board. Well, we had Luke Cage as a 2/3 that only protected one spot, and it was terrible. It was completely unplayable. Luke Cage is not a meta card. You might like Luke Cage a lot. You might want to play Luke Cage a lot right now, but he's not a meta card. He's just not in a lot of decks. They've released too many good 3s lately for Luke Cage to really be super relevant, so you're relatively safe going with your negative stuff. It's one of the reasons that Ajax has such a high cube rate, because your opponent really can't do a lot to stop it, because Luke is just so rarely seen. Kier Tixley asked my favorite novel to movie. We've already talked about my favorite novella to movie, which is The Shawshank Redemption. I don't want to talk about my favorite graphic novel to movie, but that's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I absolutely adore Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. But my favorite novel to movie is actually The Maltese Falcon. I adore The Maltese Falcon. No one is ever cooler than Humphrey Bogart is in that freaking movie. The book is even better. I love The Maltese Falcon. You should 1,000,000,000,000% check it out. Oh. All right, certain tiers of support on the Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I'd like to say thank you to a whole bunch of people. And if you're interested in the Patreon, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments. Thank you to Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, who's streaming all the time. Check out Cables_Dumbs on Twitch. Matt H, there's 2 of them. Get ready, that's only number 1. Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dire Wolf, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Diesvelt, Inc, I Am Frostman, I know you are, Jay Nevereat, Corwin, Primed Ryan of Prime Mind. Check out the Prime Mind app if you want to help with some mindfulness or competitive poker. Koi Ray, Kertixley, I reversed those 2. Pyrophoros, The Goat Seeker, Den Man Falcon, Quid Pro Joe, Doc D, the king of new Marvel Snap card content, who's dealt with me whining about something for like 3 days, so thank you, Doc D. Fat Nick, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, the Ratco, who's carrying me on his back right now. Usually it's model, so really. Haplo, Kenny Logs of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, X-Force V and Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, winner of Snatch Judgments League Season 1 and organizer of Season 3, the King of Bros, Brett, Black Dahlia, the Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, hi Jess, Ryan Wood, it's Woody, Kev C. Hoda, Luna Chris, Quantum Quinn, the best name, our new friend, John Q, 8th Sage, who also won a season pass and needs to send me that Snap ID so I can give it to him, Mod Supreme Models, Darth Tater, Remus Atala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., J.D. McDonaldinho, we just saw his deck, The Fuzzy Dunlap, Spectrumix, Matt H., DJ Mikey Hedgings, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Greg Sterry, Seamus, Jonesy, Two Ties, my alliance leader for the time being, the great Lauren Woodebs, the Pirate King Tuccrr, the Homie Man, who I finally heard from, missed you so much, man, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for, hey, if you're interested in tournaments at all, I've got a tournament winning deck and all the decks from a major tournament, a Snap Masters tournament in Monday's video. Check the link right below, right down there. Click it, hit sub, and I'll see you tomorrow for another Snap Take. Peace.